and welcome to my very first segment of Playing with Flashcards, my admittedly extremely nerdy way of talking about plays both old and new with all of you guys. I've had several nerds tell me that they really don't enjoy reading plays, and that makes sense. I mean, plays were written to be seen. I, however, am just generally nerdy enough to really enjoy including scripts in the other things that I like to read. So that's why I decided I would do this segment. Sometimes I'm turned on to a play by a friend. Other times my interest gets piqued by something I read about a play in American theater. And other times, like as in the case of the play I'm going to talk about today, I just saw it on the bookshelf at the bookstore I go to and knew I liked the playwright, so I decided to pick it up and give it a go. And along with my trusty flashcards here, I hope to give you a nice, short and sweet description of The Basic Training of Pavlo Hummel by David Rabe. This play is considered to be very important in American theater history because many have said it's the first play to really deal with the experience of the American soldier during Vietnam. So let's get started with some of the basics. As I said before, this play is written by David Rabe. It is the first in a trilogy that includes Sticks and Stones and concludes with Streamers, which is a very popular script. I haven't ever read it, but I have heard a lot about it. Rabe won a Drama Desk Award for The Basic Training of Pavlo Hummel. It opened first off-Broadway in '71 at the Public Theater, and then it went on to Broadway in '77 with Al Pacino in the title role. A little summary of our play. Set in 65 to 67, and Rabe simply says in the United States Army. Within the play, they do travel from base a little bit back to Pavlo's home, and then also to Vietnam. The basic training follows just that, the basic training of Pavlo Hummel, and then ultimately, not about the writing, I'm not saying this about the writing, but ultimately it's kind of a stupidly tragic death. In other words, he dies because he catches a grenade with his hands while he is visiting a brothel. And of course, the wounds from catching a grenade would kill, I would say, anybody. So yeah, that's why I say it's kind of a stupidly tragic death. However, the path of the play is not linear. It utilizes flashbacks and dreamlike sequences throughout. A little bit about the characters. The principal character is, of course, the title one, Pavlo Hummel. He is a young pathological liar, thief, and drug addict. Some sources like to say that he is a loser. I wouldn't go that far. I just think I would call him more of an anti-hero because I personally never find a moment to like him within the play. I do take pity on him and I feel bad for him, or at least his lack of intelligence. I did think it was really interesting that Al Pacino originated the role on Broadway just because while I know that Al Pacino is a fantastic and an amazing actor, truly, at the same time, I generally never like his characters. I never find myself really rooting for the characters that he plays. So it doesn't surprise me that he played Pavlo Hummel. Another great character in the play is Ardell. Some sources say he's kind of like a Greek chorus type of character, and I definitely think that Rabe utilized him in that fashion. However, for me, he was also Pavlo's rational mind. He was kind of there trying to get him to straighten out, to get his head on straight, as Pavlo's doing things like doing drugs or, telling these wild lies, stealing from his, fellow soldiers, or even trying to kill himself. There are several strong male roles within this play, which makes it great for you guys. The female roles are not... I don't think they're as fantastic, although Mrs. Hummel, Pavlo's mother, does have some really great monologues within the play. So definitely a play for you guys if you want to take a moment to check that out. All right, moving on to theme. I think this play deals with fact versus self-perception. and how that gets even more complicated once guns, bombs, and Vietnamese prostitutes get involved. For me, that's what I would say I got out of this play. And I think it's extremely relevant in the sense of how America now sees herself in context of the world versus how the world sees us. However, most sources say that this play deals with the waste of men and boys in war. I definitely see that. I would go a little farther and say, that Pavlo's seeming lack of intelligence and the ability to make a sensible decision also mirrored our government as they were keeping us in Vietnam, as so many of our soldiers died during that time. Style of the play. As I mentioned, the play is nonlinear. It deals more with a psychological complexity than an external one, so I would agree with several sources that file this play under expressionism. Rabe himself shopped it around to several experimental theaters before it finally did find a stage at the progressive, and still is to this day, public theater. And finally, my final thoughts. This play was hard for me to read because I didn't have strong feelings for the characters. I did enjoy imagining the staging of it. I think the characters are great, complex roles. And I also thought that several of the lines in this play were profound and horrifically beautiful. I can see why Rabe won an award for this play, even if it's not my favorite play that I have ever read. So, there you go. That is my first little introduction to playing with flashcards. If you're so inspired, you can grab a copy of The Basic Training of Pavlo Hummel at most stores that carry plays. I know that there's more of those here in LA than probably in some other places around. But you can also get it on Amazon. And again, you guys, I strongly recommend it for you as far as scene work and monologue work is concerned. All right, well, I will see you guys next time.